Okay, ready? Let's go. So welcome everyone. As usual, my name is Miss Boba. I lead FujoGuide and a bunch of other fandom related projects. I'm really passionate about teaching web development to hobbyists, and today I want to talk to you about just the basic of TypeScript and JavaScript too. So you might remember last time we were working on content collections in Astro, and I wanted to continue those today, but really when it came to it, I thought, like, as we were doing content collection, there is a bunch of not advanced, but a lot of JavaScript concepts involved. And so I wanted to take a step back and give people enough of an overview of how everything works so that you can understand better what is happening in every moment as we go code more complex things. So that's what we're going to be doing today. I don't know that we will have time to do more with content collections themselves, but I have an agenda, so let's go and see how that goes. The other things that we'll be doing is we'll be answering some questions that people have left about Astro and about generally web development. If you have more, just in chat, let me know. And yeah, let's get to it. Okay, I have the topics up. Anything before we start? Any question? Okay, so I think none. I also don't know how much delay there is between the chat and the streaming. So if I go further and then someone writes something, don't worry about it. I will reply as soon as I have a break. Let's go to VS Code, which is working well. So now the first thing I want to do is I want to push the changes we made last time to our characters card, because I realized I didn't actually do it. So let me put that on GitHub so people can actually go and copy that code if they want. So git push. And now this is gonna be on GitHub. Let me give the link. Back to the browser. You might see me struggle a little bit with the keyboard today. Because I am trying a new keyboard, and well, this is my old keyboard. I can't do very well with my new keyboard, and I can't do very well with my old keyboard, so yeah, it's all a struggle. So here is, I'm putting it in the chat, here is the link to what we did last time in case people wanna see, but for now what we're gonna do instead, we're gonna set that completely aside and we are going to go back to our main. So we switch to our main branch, and this base origin main. So we're gonna take all the changes that are in our upstream, which is the code as it exists on GitHub, and I have updated my main, which is my main branch where the currently canonical version of our website lives. And so now my code is up to date with what we have there. Let me double check that things effectively run. I'm going to install again because I might have some packages that were in the other branch but are not in the current one because we installed something when we went to do content collection. And then I am going to rerun Astro with the dev command. So now I am going to, if I go to the browser and I go to the localhost 3000, here is our page with all our under construction. Okay, so we aren't going to make a lot of changes here, but I wanted to have just, you know, a base website to explain what I'm gonna explain with. So let's make a new page, and I'm just gonna call it explanation.astro. Let me get the VS Code. And yes, as usual, you might need to yell at me if I forget to, you know, to update, to change, switch switch the how do you call it, the scene on OBS. Please do. Okay, so I'm just gonna prepare a simple page that has nothing really, and then we can use these to do experiments. Okay, and now I'm gonna go on explanation.astro in the browser. Well, explanation, that's all, in the browser, and it's an empty page with nothing. Yes. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so first of all, we are going to be writing JavaScript today in this space here within an Astro file, which is where you can just write JavaScript in Astro. It's not exactly, oh, that formatted it. It's not exactly how you would do it anywhere else that uses pure HTML, CSS. You would usually write JavaScript in a script tag, but yeah, you know, I didn't want to set up anything particularly different, so I'm just gonna do it here in Astro, and we're gonna talk about the various concepts. Ellen says, about us, nothing is making me laugh. Yeah, it is kind of funny. So let's see. Today I want to talk to you about TypeScript, and we will see the difference between it and JavaScript. It's gonna become clearer, I think, as we go for like 2 examples. But the main difference is that TypeScript adds a type system on top of JavaScript. This means that it just makes it easier for you to avoid mistakes in your code. It has a little bit of like extra syntax that we will see today how it works. But yeah, you get better auto-completion, less errors. And so, you know, if you get the chance to use it, and Astro has great support for it, I highly recommend, and we'll see why it's good today. The only thing that you need to pay attention to is the fact that TypeScript cannot run in a browser. So the browser only knows how to run pure JavaScript code. So if you are using TypeScript, you will need an extra step called a compilation step that basically what it does, it turns all your TypeScript code into JavaScript. It just removes anything that's not valid JavaScript, and so transforms it into something the browser can interpret. That's the main thing to pay attention to. So if it doesn't work, if it's the browser tells you that the syntax that you're using is invalid, and you're writing TypeScript, that's why you need something extra. In Astro, I think the main difference is, where is it? No, there is a config. Well, there is a tsconfig.json file and the Astro config. Oh, probably not. Probably just having the tsconfig here is fine. Anyway, the Astro website has some, if you haven't enabled it when during the Astro setup, the Astro website has some things that will help you figure out how to get it to work. So the first concept, let's go to the concept. The first concept that I want to talk to you about is the concept of a variable. Probably the most important programming concept. Variables are really useful, really cool, and what they do is they hold values for us. There are, let me write one and then we'll talk about it. So for example, it can be name, and then you do, I don't know, what's one name? Bobatan. Or a variable might be current year, and that would be 2023. Or you could have is my first website, and that would be false, so true or false. So this is these are all variables, and yeah, there's, when you go, I'm gonna get the browser 1 second. When you go talked about variables, usually the way that they get described is as a box that you put a value in. But actually, I was thinking more about this, and I think my favorite way to describe a variable is at some kind of a post-it notes. So if you have a post-it notes and you think about naming that post-it note, or like you basically, a variable would be, so you write 2023 in here, and so now, and some you do maybe, I don't know, 15. And so now, whenever in the code you need to do something with current year, or you need to do something with sum, you can imagine as if you go look at that post-it note that you wrote, and you're like, okay, current year is 2023 now. And so this means that that's what I'm gonna do in my code. That's what it's going to be swapped with. So, for example, you could do next year. Oh, let me go to code. And that would be current year plus 1. And so what is current year? Well, you go look. In current year is currently 2023. And then you add 1, and that becomes what you write in kind of the next year post-it. One thing in JavaScript and TypeScript is that there is actually multiple ways to declare a variable. Declaring a variable is basically saying, okay, a name, something called name exists, something called current years exist. There are a few syntaxes for this. So you can see here, this first one, I have used the word const. Another one is let. Sorry, next year, the year after next. I don't know, is there a word for that? And then there is another one. I'm gonna call year after next, after next. Okay, this is getting this is getting a bit too intense, but these are 3 ways to declare variables. So the difference between these is, first of all, var is a very old way of doing it. and you could. You will probably find it all around the web when you look at answers that are that are a bit outdated or like have been written a long time ago. This used to be the only way that you could declare variables in JavaScript. Right now, I recommend fairly strongly not to use var. Lee says, I'm bad about still using var. Yes, I see people use var, and it's like one of those, it's okay, but you really should get into the habit of using either const or let. I can explain why, but it is but it is like a bit complex. It has to do with like where the variable is effectively declared. Let's not talk about it, but you can ask me if you're still curious later. Ellen says var is just rolling the dice and letting it decide what to do. No, var is just declaring a variable. It's just a matter of where it does exist. But let's talk about let and const. Let's just set var aside. So the difference between let and const is, if we go back to the post-it example, is that the difference is whether you can change the value that the variable contains. So for example, when you are current year, we might declare this as const, which says wait, I'm blanking on the word, which stands for, thank you, stands for constant. So this is telling you that, current year is in your code not gonna change. No one is gonna be update current year. This post-it, like, fixed. No one can modify it. In comparison, we might declare this with let, which I don't think stands for anything. I think it's just a very mathematics way of doing this, where you say let sum be 15. And what you can do here is that you can, because this is declared not as a constant, you can basically just change the value. It's not letting me. You can just change the value wherever you want, and then you can override this variable over and over. So that's the main difference. Can this value change? Am I allowed to change? Am I allowing myself to change this value? And unless the answer is yes, you should always try to declare a variable using const. The reason for that, well, obviously, and I'm gonna give some opinions here. And some opinions are more universally accepted than others, but you can always do whatever you want. However, general wisdom says that you should try to declare your variable with const unless you have a reason, like wanting to change them, to declare them with let. And the reason for this is, well, if you don't mean to change the variables, you want your code to yell at you in case you do that accidentally. So const offer that added layer of protection. And so let me go see 1 second as I go to the chat. Lee says, I wish linters would just yell at me for using var. I bet I could write a rule. I'm pretty sure there are rules. If you go look at ESLint, I think there is a no var rule that you can add to it. And for people that might not know, I don't know that we have linting in Astro, but let me go back to VS Code. Linters are special programs that look at your code and can tell you if you're following best practices. So ESLint, written like ESLint, is one of the most popular JavaScript linters, and it has like a huge amount of rules that you can set up. So that can be helpful, for example, to if you do want to avoid var in your code, but you can't stop the habit, that will make sure, like you can set it up and that will squiggle with yellow when you make a mistake, like that. And if you set it up correctly, it will also not allow you to build your code. Let me see. Ellen says, I had a line that made me laugh, so I coded in a fake. Sorry, I can't read well the chat. Okay. I had this line made me laugh, so I coded in a fake. However, it's sometimes useful to define variables with values that cannot be changed. For example, consider the gravity of Earth, 9.8 meters a second. This isn't likely to change anytime soon. And if it does, you likely got bigger problems than learning C++. Defining this value as a constant helps ensure that this value isn't accidentally changed. Yeah, I mean, aside from the fact, yeah, you have bigger problems, that's exactly it. A constant stops you from accidentally changing a value, and that is going to save you a lot of headaches. And Lee says there's an Astro plugin for ESLint. Yes, there is. I might install it another day, and then we can look at it more. But anyway, that's the concept of a variable. Now, and we remove var. We pretend that this does not exist, but it's okay, you know, if your code has var, or if you find it in like old code, it's okay. You're not, the difference is complicated, but for the most part, it's just gonna be fine. Okay, so we were saying, now this is JavaScript, and now, however, we're gonna start with like adding the first little bit of TypeScript to our code. So I was saying that what TypeScript does is it adds a type system on top of JavaScript. So let's see what that means. Let's say that you have a sum, and you define sum as like 15 plus 3. Now, you could do something like you reassign sum. So this is the first time you declare a variable, you need to use let in front of it. But then afterwards, when you assign again to it, which you can only do if it's not const, you don't need to write let. That's just for the first time. You could say something like, this is total, you know, with the, wait. That's okay, yeah, that makes sense. Sorry, I wasn't expecting that to be an error already. Let me get back. So, okay, you can define sum as like, for example, 15 plus 5, and then you can try to reassign it to something else. And in this case, this is, closing, the word total. It's a word also called a string because it has, it's between these quotes. So now, why is this an error? Well, this is an error because here, sum has been defined implicitly as a number. So, in short, when you have TypeScript, you can add this column and then type, and that will make sure that you can't put anything within a variable that is not the type that you specified. So for example, let me think about another example. So you could have name, which is a string, and then you will tell me, oh, because I already declared it. And then I can do name equals Bobatan. So here I declared the variable, but I did not assign to it a value. That's fine, you can do it. And here I rechanged the name to be Bobatan, and that's fine. But now if I try to do the name and I try to do 15, I'm gonna get an error because it says type number is not assignable to type string. So here basically what I did, I said, I declared that my name, that there is a variable named name, and this variable is of type string. So of type a word, a sentence, something like that. Because I said that it's type string, whenever I try to go assign to it a number or something else, that I get an error. Here with some, you know, it's basically doing the same thing. It's just doing it implicitly because I put a number in it, and so it knows that it's a number. So when I try to put a string, it gets mad at me, but I can totally put a number. And that's what TypeScript does. It just allows you to do this for all the various types that you have. For example, is active. This could be a Boolean, and then you can say that it's active, and then you can change it and say is active false, but you cannot change it and say is active maybe. So yeah, that's it. The addition of this colon type is all that is part of what TypeScript is. And you can see how it can be useful because it prevents those errors that we were talking about. Like we were talking about accidentally using const and reassigning a value. That's an error you want to prevent as soon as possible. And it's in the same way, assigning a non-Boolean value to a Boolean variable, yeah, that's going to, as they say, fuck you up. And so if you can avoid it before like your code run, that's great. And that's what TypeScript does. You can get really, really fancy with this. And you can, for example, you can say that you want something to be either a number or a Boolean. I don't know, but let me think if I didn't prepare an example for this. What is that could be both? Well, let's see this is active, you know. Let's see, you want this to be like, it's either a Boolean or it is a string. There. So with this type of syntax, you can see this, it's called, I don't know what the English name for it is, but it's called a pipe generally in programming. You can say, oh, I want one or the other. So now I want this to be a Boolean or I want this a string, and now is active can be effectively maybe. But if you try to put a number there, now it won't work. You can even get like, you can get really complicated with this. So you could say this is either Boolean or is actually the string maybe. So now you can do things like, it can be a Boolean, as we were saying, it can be the string maybe, but it cannot be the string perhaps. Is that how you write it? I'm not sure that's how you write it. Oh, Thunderwolf says it's pipe in English too. Good to know. I thought it was a programming thing, you know. Sometimes you're like, I don't know, it just made sense. Yeah, that looks more correct. I haven't written that in a while. So yeah, see, you can get really complicated with this. One way that this is usually used, you can do something like const status, and you can say active, sorry, not the equals, the semicolon, active or pending or cancel or cancelled, or I don't know, expired. And then you do, let's say, you do active here. And now if you, oh, no, sorry, let. Now if you go reassign it and you try to write this, you can see that it actually suggests to you only the statuses that are valid for the variable you have. And this is the other and this is the other power of TypeScript. As I said, first of all, that it helps you ensure your code is correct, but it also helps you with the with suggestions, which makes which if you have memory problems like I do, it just makes it everything a lot easier, but it especially makes it a lot easier to work with external libraries where you don't want to go look at the documentation, but this tells you what the possible status are. Wolf asks, why is the IDE mad at you and there is a red line under status? I'm assuming just because I haven't, done the, I haven't inputted the value. Just one small thing about strings, you will find them with the double quotes, you will find them for this with the single quotes, you will find them with this whatever quotes. They're mostly all the same. This last one as a bit of a different, like it's a bit different, but doesn't really matter. Those are all string type as far as TypeScript is concerned. So yeah, now how do we use this in Astro? Well, the easiest way is you just write the status. What did I do? Okay, you just write, and let me get the browser, and let me get back our. Aside from the fact that it says ESLint there. Can you see it like this? Okay, and Lee says those are these ones here are backticks. Yes, backticks. Thank you. So yeah, you can put the value of the variable directly in your code, and that's cool. That's one way you can use it. The other way you can use this, that it's very useful, is you can choose to display or not display UI elements or components, divs, and all that according to whether a variable is true or false. And give me 1 second, I just need to go answer the door. I'll be right back. Sorry about that. Okay, here I am. Sorry, the dangers of being live. So I was saying the other way you can use variables here is to decide whether or not to show a UI element. For example, let's say that we have a div, and here it says, sorry, your subscription, I don't know, is not valid anymore or something. Now you want to be able to display this only if your status is cancelled or expired. Hi, Porkchop. So how do you do this? Well, I did briefly mention Boolean variables. So let's say const is inactive, and then this would be Boolean. Boolean can take two different values. It's either true or it's false. That's what a Boolean value is, like literally two values. It's one bit in memory. It's either 0 and then it's false, or it's 1 and then it's true. There are a lot of different ways to manipulate Boolean values. I'm not gonna go deep into that, but in this case, for this is inactive, we can check whether status is equal to cancel. cancelled or status is equal to expired. Now, why are you mad at me? The comparison appears maybe because that. Give me 1 second. What have I done? Is it because I think this is because I am declaring status just like here, and so it actually can tell that I've never changed it, and so it can only be active, and so it's actually like telling me that the type of status here is active. Trying to think about how can I trick you? Can I trick you somehow? What if I do current? It's too smart for me. Sorry, I am. Yeah, it's just being too. Sorry, it's just being a bit too smart for me right now. You know, I have declared this in this, like I have written it as active here, so that TypeScript is literally can tell that actually status is either active or cancelled, and it's never assigned any of these other values. So when I try to say the status is either cancelled or expired, it yells at me because it just says, sorry, that status can, I know you said that theoretically the status could be expired, but it's not, it cannot be. I see what you did. And there is no way that that's ever true. Okay, but like assume that this could be a thing. So I was saying, let's give for granted that this actually worked. Now at this point, we want to only show this subscription div if like the subscription is an active div, if the subscription is actually inactive. So to do this, first we wrap this div with the curly bracket, and then we say is inactive and show this div. Let me put this here. So here, I'm not gonna explain this, I'm just gonna say active, and this is still gonna give me the squiggly line, but it's fine. So here, this is also a Boolean operator. There are two. One is, and this is or, which is A or B, and then A or B, and so true if either A or B are true. And then there is A and B, which is true if A and B are both true. So this is the two possible operators that we're seeing. So here in this case it was inactive if status is cancelled or expired, and here this is a slightly different syntax, but it is also a common syntax that you see around. It basically said if it's inactive is true, then display this div. And you can see that now status is active, and so double checking, the div is not displayed, and then if instead I do expired, changed it there, but now the div is displayed. So that's it. That's how it works. Theoretically, also the OR operator works here. So you can do that but I think usually it's end. Usually it's end when you find it. Okay, so that's for variable. There is actually another one that you might encounter, which is slightly a bit more complicated. It's called the ternary operator. So you could say, and I'm mostly saying it because you will find it around. Oh, you're right, switch the screen, thank you. We should have like a counter. We should have a counter for how many times I do this during a stream. Okay, so here I have used a ternary operator. It's slightly more complicated syntax than many people do not like, but it is very useful specifically for when you are deciding whether to show or not show something in something like for something like you know, this type of Astro layouts, or like anything that allows you to mix HTML and JavaScript. And what it does is it's made of 3 parts. So first part, let me go in VS Code. It's made with condition, then there is a question mark, and then thing to do if true, and then thing to do if false. That's how it works. So for example, you can say const is active, and then you do condition, no, wait, not Boolean variable, like status, and then you say is active, then status is active, is if not is inactive. This is how a ternary operator works. There is a Boolean condition, and then if true and if false. So here, for what we have in our code here, it's like is inactive, that's the condition, and if it's true, then it will show this div, sorry, your subscription is not valid anymore, and if it's instead false, it will show the second one, your subscription is active. You could basically do this sort of like is inactive and div, and then the opposite for this other one, but that's a bit too not great. So that's another way you can use variables in your code. That's mostly it for variables. There is one thing that I wanted to show, and that is I wanted to show just show that you have the ability to log variables. So console.log is a very useful method that allows you to see the value of things. So here I'm saving it, and if you open your terminal, you can see here at the very bottom, you can see the value of is inactive. Let me do the value of is inactive is, and here you can see it at the bottom, the value of is inactive is true. There are 2 consoles actually. There is one here also in this page within the browser, here at the bottom. The way Astro works, all this thing on top of here, all this thing, it's executed before the page is displayed, and that's why if you console.log there, you will find it in the page itself. Sorry, you will find it in the terminal because it's doing it before sending the page to the browser. But you can use console.log everywhere, and like you know, if you don't know where it's going, look at both of these. So yeah, that's all for variables. Any question? Is this clear? Taking a drink pause. What was the title of this section? Conditional variables. Yeah, I would say it's like conditionally displaying element according to variables. Sorry, that's not, that's a bit of a mouthful, but yeah, it's really like just about the various ways you can use a variable in code, and these are the ones that mostly come to mind. Printing it, conditionally displaying things, and then, well, I guess there is the value of like attributes here. For example, a div. What attributes are there? Well, you could do a class and then say status, and this should display in, let me go see in the browser. If you go to the element, now it has the class that is the same as the status that you have there. Yeah, so these are ways you can use variables. Okay, everyone seems like they have this clear. So now we're gonna go to a slightly more complicated thing. I'm doing a big jump. There are, we will see why I'm making this choice, but, oh, switch windows. No, come on, I hadn't started typing yet. So it's still good. No, it's not true. It's not true. It's 1. I hadn't started typing. I'm sure I would have remembered, like at least 1.5. We're counting how many times I am forgetting to switch windows. I'll set the value back to 1. See, clearly you declared it with let, so you can do that. Okay, so speaking of things you can assign to variables, so we've seen like string, we've seen number, we've seen boolean. There are quite a few. Let me actually, you know, I haven't prepared. I will change this window. Give me 1 second. I'm Googling. You declare, oh, Ellen says, I declared it as an integer. It can't be 1.5. Actually, that's a very, very great thing to say, because that's not true in TypeScript. So what Ellen is saying is, you know, some programming languages would allow you to do something like const next year equals integer or whatever, and so you could do 2023, 2024, but you couldn't do 2024.5 because it's like an integer. That's not true in neither JavaScript. Well, JavaScript doesn't care. You can put whatever you want in a variable. JavaScript is very easy to please. But in TypeScript, there is only one type, and that's number. And that can take both integers, can take like numbers with the dot, can take anything that it's a number. And yeah, so just, you know, pointing this out. This is something where JavaScript differs from a lot of other languages. Lee pinned 1 to the top of the chat, and so now we have just a very ominous 1 at the top. But yeah, I was like looking here at the MDN kind of the Bible of JavaScript. Here has some you know, like writing about what the various types are in JavaScript. If you go on the TypeScript guide, that should also, this also gives you all the various different types. I'm gonna put this in the chat just in case. Why don't you allow, oh, go to the new page, okay. Why don't you allow me to paste? Come on, OBS, there. So yeah, there are a few string number and booleans. The one that we've seen are like the primitives, like the very important ones. We will see array in a second, but first I want to talk about functions. So now, cancel of this, you can actually assign a lot of things to variables. One of the things that you can assign is a function. So you can do something like current year, no, let's say sum, that's the classic one, sum switch window. Oh, come on, fine. Oh god, okay. I mean, this time, this is on me. This is a very well-deserved show. This is a very well-deserved show. Okay, we were saying. Sorry, I'm gonna drink again. Clearly got flustered by yet again doing the same mistake. So what is a function? A function is an operation that you can do on some parameters. For example, sum is usually the classic example. So let's say const next year is 2023 plus 1. So this is how you usually write it in JavaScript, but sometimes you might do something like sum of 2023 and 1. This is, if you declare a function, this is one way that you could possibly write a sum. So it's the way this works is you would have a number, another number, and then you would return a value, which is what the it is what happens after the function is called on these parameters. So here, for example, with next year, I have flew to cross through the sun. And now in the browser, it should go back. And here it shows 2024. You're basically, what you're doing when you're doing a function is you are creating a black hole of logic to which you give something, in this case the number 2023 and the number 1, and you get something back based on what you gave in and what that black hole does. So you have, for example, let's go back to Excalibur. So you have the sum black hole, and then you pass to it 2023, and then you pass to it 1, and then these go in, and then out comes 2024. This is the function, and then these here are called parameters. Let me remove VS Code. And this here is called the the function return value. And this function here, this can be anything. It can be sum, it can be division, it can be, let's see what other functions, well, we'll see some in a second. I can be go back to my database and retrieve the, I don't know, the number of times I didn't switch window when I was supposed to be switched, and like add one to it. It can be a lot of things. It's just a way to create a closed unit of logic that you can use wherever you want. You do not care how it's doing, what it's doing inside. You just care about giving it what you want to give to it and knowing that it will do operations on it and then returning the value to you. So here, here is how you declare it in TypeScript. So first of all, you have to assign it to a variable. So that's why I was doing it here. It's a different thing you can do with variables. And then you have between your round brackets, you give the various parameters, and then you have this arrow. These are called arrow functions in JavaScript. There's a special syntax for them, but it's the one that's used in modern times. Oh, parentheses. Wait, parentheses and brackets? Are those different names? Like according... I'll let people tell me. And then there is an arrow and the squiggly lines, the squiggly brackets. People are teaching me names of things I do not know how to name actually in English. So I did not learn programming in English. Sorry, what was I saying? Then there are like these squiggly brackets, and within it you can do whatever you want. You can be like, I don't know, you can say declare another variable. You can say a divided by 2, and then say that's a divided by 2. And then here in your return value, the thing can be a divided by 2 times 2 plus b. I don't know why we would want to do that, but that is to say you can do whatever you want there. And here this return is what gets returned there. So the reason that I wanted to, well, no, sorry, one more thing I actually wanted to say, looking at my notes. You can do whatever you want with functions, but a few rules of thumbs. Usually, you want to try and do just one thing with them. So you want to, you know, you don't really want, like, assume you're doing an update to a database, or like, you know, just calculating something. You don't want to have, so I'm going to calculate A and B and C. Also, I'm going to update the database, and also I'm going to, like, I don't know, display something on the page. You usually want to try to keep them doing one unit of logic as much as possible. And also, you generally want to, these parameters here, you generally want to avoid modifying them from within the function itself. It's a bit of a complicated topic, but try not to make changes to it. That's just a rule of thumb that some people that like programming try to really stress. What was I saying? Yes, and then the TypeScript syntax for this, you have the type of each parameter next to it with the colons against. Usually when you see colon, that's TypeScript. This could be a string, well, not right now because then you get the error with the argument of type number. But let's Oh, let me go the browser. Sorry, just the code. So you see I was declaring B as a string, and now I get an error here. And then I could fix this with like hello. And now it's okay because B is a string. But now when I run this code and I go in the browser and I go to the right page, like here, you can see it has summed the 2023 and hello, which means it just squished them together and made them a string. And so another thing you can do with a function is declare the return type. So here you can say, just like right after the parentheses, you can say number, and this will say that your function needs to return a number. And now you can see that this is suddenly, it's like returning squiggle lines again, because yeah, it just says this is a string because you're summing a number as a string. But if you go back to number, it will work out. The one thing, this is actually something that someone asked, is like, why do I sometimes need to declare these return values and sometimes I don't? Whether you need or don't need, it's really like, you know, it's kind of a hint. Sometimes TypeScript cannot correctly know what you're trying to return, and so you can tell it explicitly to make it easier for it to, for example, say that you can only return you know how we did that, we had like active or inactive. So you might need to tell it just so that it knows that it doesn't, that you can't just return an arbitrary string. But most importantly, you might want to tell it just because of what we, like as we see here, if we make a mistake, if we have declared the return type, now TypeScript will tell us, hey, this return type is not right. And if we did not declare it, then like TypeScript itself is going to let us know what the return type of the function is. So if I hover over here, you can see the, does it show it? Does it show it? Do you see? I'm not sure you see it. I never understand what, oh no, you see it, you see it. Here it says that sum is a constant, which is a function, see, has two parameters, a and b, both are numbers, and then its return value is also a number. That's it, that's a function. Now, why did I want to talk about functions? Because there are useful built-in functions in JavaScript and TypeScript, and these are usually not really written this way. They use a different syntax, and you know, we'll talk more about exactly how this works later, but let me give you an intuition. So for example, if you want to, let's say you declare the name Bobatan, and now you want here to write the name all in uppercase. You can do this by calling a function. And so now if you go in the browser, you will see Bobatan here in uppercase. Now this is a slightly different syntax, and I want to talk more about it. Browse, wait, code. That's the bot. No, the wrong bot. Okay, I'm back. And I'm gonna talk about it more in like probably next time. But you can think about this as some kind of like, imagine that you're just doing to uppercase and name is the first argument. It's a special syntax. So you have a bunch of things. You have name to uppercase. You can replace, for example, the dash in Bobatan with, I don't know, exclamation mark. And so now you should see it you should see the exclamation mark. There are a lot of these built-in functions, and yeah, they're particularly useful with strings, and I wanted to mention them because these are very useful when you're doing things with your code. There is actually, I saved the MDN page for these two. Where are you? You can search for string here in the browser. I got it before you told me, so it's fine. Here at the top, you can search for string, and it should get you to this page. And here on the side, you can see all the different things you can do on the string, like all the functions that exist, that you can dot on a variable that's a string and like get a new string back. One of these, some of these, like, why is this useful? Some of these return booleans, so you could do, for example, starts with was one. Here, this way. Starts with, and then you can do something like I'm making this more complicated than it should be, but you could do what we were doing before. Conditionally display the string. So this is basically if the name starts with B, then display the name. We could change this to C, and now the name should not be displayed anymore. Yeah, it's empty. What's this documentation site? This is MDN. So Mozilla Developer Network, if you might be, I think if you search for MDN, you'll find it, but it's called Mozilla Developer Network. The best documentation website for HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Not always beginner friendly, but it's worth trying to learn to read it because it's really useful. And you know, like if you have questions, maybe those will be like write them down. Like if you have struggle reading a page or struggle reading something, you can send them to us, and I might do one day some let's learn how to navigate MDN. But yeah, great. And this says it's more up to date than the other ones that beginner often go like W3 schools. Yeah, MDN is like incredibly up to date, very accurate. It has really interesting things like, so for example, for replace all, if you go to the very bottom here, it will tell you which browsers, in which browser version was this thing introduced. So you know, for example, it was only in Safari, like replace all as a string method only became a thing in Safari in 2020. This one will help you do, will help you know if you can use things and how, and everything about them, everything literally. So now, speaking of the reason I talked about functions earlier, let's go to code again, is that now I have a, let's say, question from the public, for the public, things I like. Let's see, what do I like? Only bad examples are coming to me. Anime, doujinshis, and programming. Now, this is a list of things I like, and there is a useful function that it's called split. So let's say things are like, this is the text, and then there is and then takes things alike and then splits them on commas. And then we console.log this. And now we can see that what here in console.log, we see the result of this. And we can basically see that this has created a list of things that I like that is slightly different from what I had here. See the different syntax? Here is between square brackets, and here it was as a single string. And this is, it basically has created from the string a list of things. And this list of things, this is called an array. So let's go actually back to where is Excalibur, and let's talk a second about arrays. So an array is, as we said, a list of things. So you have in the things I like, we had sorry, I don't like that, I want it to be, yeah. So we had anime, we had doujinshi, and we had oh, you got bigger, and we had, what was it, programming. And now this thing are all taken together, and these have become things I like. I can start adding more things here. For example, I like, what else do I like? TV series. So you can see this is like creating a list of different things and putting it all within a variable. So here, cutting off the middleman in the, where is it? In here. Cutting off the middleman. If you want to do a list of things, you do not actually need to do, you know, Ellen asked this last time, or what is the difference? Like, why can I just do a list here and then like split it on the comma? You can directly create this list. So here, here is your list. And this is called an array. You can add things here. You can do, as I was saying, TV series. And yeah, so that's the general concept. And now we will see, well, let me think what else. Let me double check. Let's say I want to show you how to use this first, and then I will talk a little bit more about the intricacies of them. First, there is one question. Cloud 1001 says, should I learn JavaScript first or TypeScript or Node.js? Node.js is not really a language, it's just a way to run JavaScript that it's not in a browser, but it is through your command line, like as a regular program. And for the question of should I learn JavaScript first or TypeScript, that's a good question, and people will give you different answers. I think that if you have something like Astro, where TypeScript is already set up for you, I do think that learning TypeScript first is a good idea. Some people would find this incredibly controversial and say, no, you must know JavaScript first. I think it's fine to learn TypeScript first. I think it teaches you good practices for your, for example, not putting like different types of values in the same variables, which like causes confusion, or like it makes it easier because it gives you suggestion. It makes it easier for you not to have to care about avoidable errors in your program. So, the setup of it can be a bit complicated sometimes. So if you're like struggling with that, don't worry too much. But if you have something like Astro that has it built in, then I do think choosing TypeScript first is a good idea. Other question. Oh, sorry. First, Lee says, I agree actually, and I'm not very far along in my programming journey. I'm like a toddler coder instead of a baby coder. As I said, it is a controversial opinion, but I do think it's better. I just think it's like, it teaches you good practices, and it makes your life easier. And if you know TypeScript, literally you just remove those colons things and you know JavaScript. It's really easy to switch back to JavaScript. Ellen says, so split here is importing a list of comma separated values basically neat. Yeah, if you have something that you wrote, for example, like imagine that you have a form on your website and you let people write things separated by comma. That's one way of going from a string with separated by commas to an actual, this is called a data structure, to like an actual data structure that your program can do things on, because it knows that it's structured as a list of things. And then Ellen asked, how would we change the name it displays from the variable name things I like to something more natural for email like things I like? So you do not actually use, okay, I'm thinking, for the most part, there is no way to go from the name of the variable to something that's displayed in like the page. That name of the variable is just for the program. You know, it's gone. Like once the program is running, it's basically gone. Like you would have to write things I like here, or it would have to be the name of the variable. And then Catalmis says, last time when we used array, you displayed as league. How would you display it as a, I'm assuming as a list on the web page? Yes, that's what we're gonna do. So here is, now it's time to be called, because we're gonna talk. That's why I was talking about functions. We're gonna call about the built-in functions for things like array. The most important one that we are gonna that if you're doing anything like this, you're gonna kind of like meet over and over again. It's called map, and it allows you to do exactly what Catal, I hope I pronounced it right, what Catal was talking about, and that is going from this list of things to, for example, a list of actual list element in the page, like a series of divs, a series of cards, a series of component. It allows you to do a translation. So I'm gonna go in the browser again. I'm gonna go to Excalibur and I'm gonna explain map in like in actual practical terms. So here, let's say, in practical but visual terms, let's say we have these things I like. And then here we don't know yet. What goes here. What map does is it allows you to go element by element and turn your array into a new different array that has the same elements but with a transformation, which is another function applied. So here, for example, if you do things I like, do you see it in the, okay, things I like dot map, and then let's say I'm gonna let me get this in code. Okay, and then you pass it a function like this is not right syntax, but let's say you pass it a function like to uppercase. Now here, after this is run, you will have anime doujinshi programming, and so on, so on, so on. So this is how map works. Here the to uppercase is going to be applied line by line. And so this is a transformation, right? Like you're taking an array and you've mapped every single element to a new array. You have mapped every single element to the result of a function called on that element, and this created a new list. Slightly convoluted, I don't know, like let me know if this isn't clear. But I think what's gonna make it clear, if it isn't, it's gonna try to use it. So for example, here, let's say that instead of having a div with things alike, just printed it. Oh, let's see how this is printed. See, right now you have everything in just like a single word, and you can apply functions here. So one simple one is join, and you could do a plus. So here you can join the whole array and make it become a single string with like the whatever separator you put. You can do as complicated as you wish. So that would be one way, and this will like return the string. But let's assume that you want to instead do what we were doing. So you want to map this to something else. For example, in our case, if we want to do a series of list elements, so you have generally the list in HTML are like anime doujinshi, this thing here, right? Like in the page, here is a list. So you want to do something like that, but you don't want to, like, you know, if you have a variable, that's variable. You can't write it like this. It's not how you do it. This is fixed. It's not variable. So that's where map comes useful, because here, first of all, we change this div into a UL, which is the element that wraps everything, and then we pass a function. Remember the syntax of the function. You have parentheses, you have your arrow, and then you have your squiggly brackets. Now, how does this function work? This is defined by map. When you go here and you search for map in your browser, here it has, like, this is its own syntax, and you know the parameter is this thing called callback function, and this, if you read it, this tells you what the arguments to that function are. And so it tells you that the first parameter is the element. of the array. In our case, this is a string because this is an array. This is an array of strings, and so here this element here is gonna be, TypeScript knows it's gonna be a string. And then from this you can say, okay, I want to return that element there wrapped into lit tags. So you use the same syntax that you use normally. You write the lit tags and then you write your element here. And now when you go to the website, you can see that every single element in this array has been mapped to a lit here. See? Let me go bigger because I'm showing you the... See, for every single one of these, now there is a lit. And then you can do things like class, and then you give it like the name of the element as a class. You can do things like that. And yeah, that will change things. So sorry. Switch window. I swear I got it before you said it, but yeah, no, I accept it. That's me. So let's say, is TypeScript better than JavaScript? Oh man, you're stepping in on a like landmine of discussion. I like it more than JavaScript. I think, but it just works better for my brain. I am a person that gets easily distracted, and the benefits of type safety. Yeah, I don't know. Like I don't know if it's if people would agree with this, but like it's very ADHD friendly because I don't have to go look at the documentation very often, so I have less occasions to be distracted and to have to go look up the same thing over and over again, as I said. So I feel like it's ADHD friendly. What else? Can TypeScript specify the data types of the elements in an array? Yes, I'll show you in 1 second. And then that is cool, dude. Map. I love map. I like abuse map. It's so good. And then the squiggly brackets are braces. Oh, thank you for teaching me the names of punctuation. So we have the round ones are parentheses, the square ones are brackets, I'm assuming, and then the squiggly ones are braces. Today I learned. I guess, you know, like I've been programming for 20 years. Maybe it's time for me to learn how the parentheses are named. Right now I'm learning JavaScript. Should I have to keep learning JavaScript? Yeah, you just keep trying, you just keep learning. Like, you know, if you're learning JavaScript, if that's working out for you, just keep learning. The switch to TypeScript, if you know JavaScript, is gonna take you like a couple days at most. It doesn't really matter. You just need to learn. Did we cover the non-lit version? What's the non-lit version? Anyway, while let's see. Oh yes, we were talking about can we tell TypeScript what it's the type of in an array? Yes, you can do it. So you remember that we had string. You just add the brackets, the square brackets on top of that, and that's an array. And you can see if I put number here, it's gonna be mad at me. It does not like number. You can also, you can literally do like everything we've done. So you can do, it's either anime or doujinshi. This means this is an array made of like strings that are either anime or doujinshi, and you can see that programming and TV series stop working. Let's see what else. There are actually two TypeScript types in like there's two ways that are I think, mostly equivalent of writing arrays in, or declaring array types in TypeScript. Another one is array, like this. So it's specifically just like actually writing out array, and then this or wait, what's the name of this? The angular things. Today brackets are not my friends. Angle brackets. Okay. And then between the angle brackets, you write the actual type of the thing. So number. Basically equivalent to number like this. And just so you know, whenever you meet something that has these angle brackets, that means it's called a generic type. So array is a type, but it is a generic type, and so requires an argument, kind of like a function. It might like need you to pass it a parameter. This is an argument to the type. You're saying it's an array, and it's an array made of strings. That's it. Generics. You might find some that are like record, string, number, and have like a bunch of different parameters. This is yelling at me because that's not a record. But yeah, a syntax that sometimes confuses people. Okay, so now I think Katal had asked covering the non-leave version, and I'm not sure I understood what that meant. But you know, whenever if you want to ask again, please feel free to. So now we were saying array. So map, this is a very cool method, but there are more that works very similarly. So if we go, one of my favorite is actually called filter, and it works similarly to map, but it is slightly different. So what filter does, it's kind of like, I think I've seen people describe it like as kind of a funnel. It basically just takes all your array, goes element by element, and then the function that you pass to it applies it to that element. If this function returns true, so it has to return a boolean. If that boolean is true, it keeps the element in the resulting array, and if it's not true, it will discard that element. So here you can do return element dot starts with, and for example a, and then you save it, and now our list it's only anime. See, there's nothing more here. And then you can do in the here you can do starts with a or element that starts with what else do I have, with d, and now it should be only anime and doujinshi. And so these are like a series of array methods that basically just that you can basically use to modify your array in a way that is very friendly to using with things like Astro to go from a series of value to an element. And yeah, it's good. It's good. I like this. Let me see. So people were saying, did you mean displaying it as a comma separated list? So the way to display, to go from like things alike done as an array and then to a comma separated link, I'm just gonna comment this out. is you can use the join method. So you have things alike, and then see TypeScript, when you do dot, like gives you all the various methods that you have. And then here you have join methods, and that will, if you do comma with a space after it and save it, it will display it as a comma separated thing. That's it. You can also change this. So like you can see here that I'm doing things like, for example, you know, I do things alike dot join, and then I can do to uppercase, and then when I do this, then it will, like now all the values are in uppercase. This is called chaining. And if you think about functions, remember that there is like a return value here, and so this basically takes when you do chaining, it takes the return value of the thing that you were like, it takes the return value of what you did here, so things like the join, and then to that it applies this function again. And so you take things select and join, and then you put it to uppercase, and then you do like, I don't know, replace all comma with pluses, and now it's pluses. And you keep going, yeah, just keep going, chain as many as you want. So now I think another thing that someone had asked was, how do I, this was asked in the, on socials when we asked things that people needed to know. And something that was asked was, how do I sort things to display them in different orders? So arrays actually have a sort method. I'm gonna move this around so that it's not in alphabetical order. So here, things alike, you can say dot sort, and I will have to talk about this a second because there is one caveat to sort. And then sorting methods are slightly complicated, well, slightly unintuitive, because this is what happens. Let me see first what happens if I write nothing. I think this will, oh, I need to remove filter. I'm removing filter too. Yeah, see, now this is in actual alphabetical order with sort. So now that's because by default sort knows that they are strings and are like, and so it's like as a good default. But let's assume you want to do it reverse. Well, there is also a reverse method, so you can just do reverse, and this will do it the opposite way. But let's assume you just want to change the way you sort. Now, as I was saying, slightly complicated. So you have, let's say, element A, element B, you have to give it a function, right? And then you need to return something. So what is this function that you pass to sort? This function is going to be called on every two elements of the array to compare them and decide in which position they go. What they do is like, you basically compare it, and it's like, does this go before this other element? Does this go after this element? Or are these the same element? And the way you tell it is, if you return -1 or like a negative number, depends on the language, then I think it says that A is less than B. like it comes before B. If you return 0, they are the same element, and if you return a positive one, then it's the opposite of that one. We can see, so if I do A minus B, oh, I can't because it's strings. How, I think it's to locale compare, there is a compare, locale compare, A, B. Oh, incorrect locale information, come on. Oh, because, right, sorry. That's like A compared to B, or you can do B compared to A. Not the greatest. Let me try doing it with a series of number, just because it's a bit easier to see. So here you do A minus B, and you sort it, and now this in the browser you get 1, 2, 3, 4, and then B minus A, you do it on the opposite one, because now it's like, what's it? So let's read the sort description actually, because I literally never remember what it is. Here it says, it is expected to return a negative value if the first argument is less than the second argument, 0 if they're equal, and a positive value otherwise. Yeah, so if you wanted Carwan says sorting strings by the second letter, we can do that. Let's do that. That's an interesting one. So things I like, and then we do A character at chart. Oh, sorry, I need to remove these brackets here. A dot chart, that gives you the characters at the at whatever element you put. One thing I did not mention, but it is like, I think Python might be different, but it is like a constant in programming languages. Arrays start from 0. So the first element of the array is element number 0. The second element of the array is element number 1. So here we do A char at 1 minus B dot char at 1. Do you allow me to do TypeScript is being mean to me. Well, we do to locale compare with B. And now it should have sorted it by the second letter, I think. Is this correct? It does look correct. Why is it the same as like the regular one? Let's do it. Let's do with the second letter, so it's less. Well, with the third letter, so it's different. Yes. See, that's different. So that's one way of doing it. And you can see, I actually do think that regular JavaScript allows you to do minus for strings, but TypeScript does not. Let's see. So I'm going to show you one thing. If you want to shut up TypeScript, you can do it by adding a comment and saying ts ignore, and it will shut it up. It will be like, TypeScript, not right now. It should work. Oh wait, we need to go through, because if not, yeah, it works, right? I think it did. That's just because TypeScript. TypeScript is kind, like really, like, it's just telling you, if you don't want to do this, like, please, at the very least tell me that you explicitly that you want to convert it to a number. Because, yeah, it's taking, or I might be wrong. Okay, let's say don't do this. don't compare things like that. The local compare, where was it? This is the method you should use, local compare. And just what was I saying? And just so, like, you know, just for completeness, because, you know, you might be confused by the name locale compare. I don't know how much this is like a known thing if you are a native speaker, but locale refers to the current kind of like setting for example, the country, the language that you're at. So if you go here, you can actually well, let me go back to the here and look at locale compare. Okay, so here is there a list of locales? This is okay. Damn, this is what I say when I say, you know, this can get complicated as a website. But anyway, there are like BR for like ENUS. There are various ones. There is FR for French here. So, you know, because the languages, according to which language you're actually working with, the comparisons of the letter might be different, especially with like accents and things. So that's why it's called locale. Whenever you see something that says locale in programming, that usually means that it can behave slightly differently according to where you tell it, like what language you tell it to consider. Just a fun fact in case you're confused by the names. Okay, now, one thing I was saying. So the thing to be pay attention to with sort. Oh, sorry, need to drink. Okay, let's do a test. Oh, okay, first of all, before I move, are there any questions? Oh, and while people write it, I'm also gonna link to the array page that similarly to the JavaScript, to the string page, as all the various methods for array. And so you know, like sometimes when I do the you know, when I don't remember like how to do something, or I'm like, there has to be an easier way to do this thing on a array, I go here and I'm going to look and maybe find out something new or remember something that I haven't used before. Question: how would we sort by final character? Yes, good question. So well, first of all, we have kind of like the same structure as this one. We just need to figure out how to write that, like get the final character. So I'm gonna put this in a variable. So last char of a, this is going to be a.char at, and then you have to give it the position. This is where the trick is. And if you think about what we going back to Excalibur, think about the what we said. Let me remove this. So what we said is all of these elements are numbered starting from 0. So you have 0, you have 1, that's not the best ordering, 2 and 3. Right? This is how this is done. So what you want to do is you want to basically do char at 3. The way you do it, and this is like a constant, I always do it this way because it makes sense, is you take the length of this array. So this array things I like as a length property, and this one right now is 4. Right now it's 4. And then you subtract 1 to it. And that will always give you the last element in the array. It's just the length minus 1. Always. So a dot length minus 1. And const last char of b equals b dot char at b dot length minus 1. And then you do last char of a, local compare with last char of b. And this, if we've done things correctly, will order, yeah, by last letter. That makes sense. Yeah, seems right. So that's that. So anyway, I was saying the question. So I have declared this array here in my code that I remember to switch as this list, okay? This array of things. I use array and list interchangeably. They aren't theoretically the same thing in computer science, but they are in JavaScript. Can I now, remember I use const here, can I now add another element to this array? Can I add, like, can I write something here that adds a new element inside this array? Okay, you say no. First of all, let me change this to let, so I don't spoiler it. The way you put element in an array, you can use push, which pushes at the end. Now I have to think about something else that I like. What do I like? Teaching. I like teaching. So here, now if I push, I will get in the browser also teaching. And now, so if I do const, I can do this. It's the same. It's correct. Like even if it's const, you can actually do that. And the reason, and this confuses people, that's why I'm saying it. So if we go back to the metaphor that we were using, I was using the post-its, right? So you have a post-it, and this post-it, which is your variable, things I like, I'm gonna move this here. Sorry. So now here you want to write the value of the array, right? Like you put the value of the array in there. But think about it. This array can grow incredibly big. Like, you can have thousands of elements. And programming languages like their variables to generally have fixed size. So what happens, and I'm saying this because I find it easier to understand this if I know what's happening. What happens is that what is saved in that variable is not the whole array with the element. It's the memory address of that array. So it is like this arrow pointing there. And so what is, if you declare something with const, what it means is that you cannot change this arrow. You can't, like if you have another array here that is like pasta, I don't know, pasta, meat, fish, you cannot take this and move it to here if it const. It has, like, once you've declared, it has to point to the same, always to the same array. So you can add to it, but you can't replace it entirely. Exactly. So you can't do things I like equals meat, fish. This is not allowed, because here you are creating a new array and you are swapping it. This is like pointing to a different point in memory. No, you cannot do that. But if you do let, now you can. And that's the difference. Alan says, pointers. Yeah, it's a pointer basically. In C, this is like a specific data type. In JavaScript, it's just, I just like to think about it the C way, because I think it makes it easier to understand what's happening. So this causes, you know, a few issues, kinda. In the sense of like you need to pay attention to like how you use this. So for example, assume you have a function and you say, let's see, a function that changes an array, and you give it, and this one takes I don't know, array, they shouldn't use the names like this, but a string array, and it modifies it. So it's array dot push and then, what was I say, teaching, and then returns array. And then we do change array, things alike. So one thing I didn't say earlier in the function, when we talk about function, and let me just make it explicit here, just so you know. So you have some, I don't know, change number, let's say change number, and then this is like takes number, no, not the name, num, which is a number, and then it returns num equals, do you allow me to do it? I don't know, actually, num times 2, and then okay, I can do it, and return num. So I have changed this number here, and then I have multiplied it by 2, and I have reassigned it to itself, and then I'm returning it. And so now if I do well, let me do let a equal 5, and then I do change number a, and then I console.log a. So here, sorry, I'm going fast, but stick with me. So here we have declared a to be 5. Here we pass it to the change number function, we pass a, and so this change number function takes whatever you give it in input. Within it, it saves 9, it says it's double, and then returns it. And so if I console.log this, there are theoretically two possibilities. This will likely output 10, unless I've gone something wrong. But here, the question is this 5 or is this 10? You see, because here we're modifying it. So letting you all give it a second. You know, like if you get it wrong, no issue, because you don't know. It's a question. 5, Lee says. Only getting one taker. Gonna. Oh. Astro, what are you doing here? Let me refresh. Yes, anyway, it does. Oh, did I not save? Oh, that's why there's only one number. Oops, I played myself. So that will output 10. Oh, sorry, keyboard problem. So the first one outputs 10, but the second one outputs 5. So, welcome back, Alan. So what I was saying is when you have a function and that function takes a variable in input, it creates a copy of that variable. So this A here, before it becomes number, that's a copy. So any change you make to it is destroyed. But when you do this thing with change array, and here you're passing the array to this, which is an array of strings, and now you're pushing something in there, and now you are returning the array. If you console.log things I like here, will this have teaching in it? Does console.log just display the contents? Yeah, it tells you it logs in the window inside there what is in the what is in the variable. And so the question here is, if you are pushing to an array something, does this change? Catal says yes. Even if A didn't change? Remember, A didn't change. If you do this with a number here, A does not change because it copies it. Okay, so here there is an anonymous, it changes it. Why does it change it? Alan, I'm not sure I understand your question. These are two separate functions. One takes a number and then multiplies it and assigns it to it, and then, you know, it consoles.log it, and you can say that even if this function here change number as update the value on num, A does not change. And then this one instead is taking the things I like array and is pushing something in it. And then the question is, did this actually change the things I like array? And the consensus is yes. And this says because it's pointing to the memory and it's replacing the memory with the whole structure containing the new element. With the single variable is storing the variable within the program, I guess. Yeah, so it does actually change it. And if you go back to this explanation here, what's basically happening is that, you know, it's creating a copy. Like actually the things I like variable does, it behaves exactly as this A here, but the thing that's happening is that when it gets duplicated and made a copy that you cannot change, this copy is still pointing, it's like it's still going to the same memory space. And so if you push in here, you actually still go to the same memory space that you were in, and go change that. And so like eventually you are working on the same memory. It's like it's for the same reason that you can change something that's const. And so this creates, this is a long explanation and slightly complicated, but the reason that I'm talking about it is because this sort here, this one actually changes the array. It's not making, it changes the memory. So like if you had things alike that wasn't not sorted, now things alike is actually sorted. In comparison, what map does is it does not change that array. It creates a completely new one. So sometimes this trips people because, you have an unsorted thing and then you call map on it, and, map has not changed what you have. Your array is still the same, but sort actually does change it. And so, yeah. And so now if you go reuse things alike after sort was calling in it, the order is going to be different. There's a couple of ways you can solve this. One of these is you create a copy of the array before doing that. And to create a copy of the array, there are a couple syntaxes. The one I like is this one. How is this one? So you put it, let me see, how do I explain this one in a way that makes sense? Okay, let's do const array copy, copy, sorry, things I like copy, come on. And so this is creating a new array. And then the way the syntax work is, this is for creating a new array, and then there is 3 dots before the value of the array. It's called a spread. So you're basically taking all the value in things alike and spreading them over the array. Like you're literally just putting them in the array one by one. So you could also do like, what else do I like? Oh my god, I forget things I like. I like electronics. Here, so here I've added electronics, and then I've added every single element of the things array, the things I like array. That's one way of creating a copy. So yeah, that's my favorite syntax. It's just easy once you learn to read it. And so now if you use the copy here at the bottom, you won't have the problem that your array is changed. The other way to do it is to use toSorted, which is this is fairly new array method that does not actually change the array. But if you go in the browser and you go look at toSorted, you will see, oh no, wait, it has pretty good compatibility data. So here at the bottom you have browser compatibility data, and you can see that it's all green, so it means all browsers support it, but some of them, like Opera, like Firefox, this was released in July 2023, so you could use it, but we're not going to see how you could use it today. But this is one thing to consider. Some of these things are new, and so yeah, if you use toSorted in Firefox, it's going to work, but only if it was released in like only if it's a version that's released after July. But JavaScript is cool, so you can do things like install what's called the polyfill of toSorted, and it's just basically a small bit of code that adds a custom implementation of that for browsers that don't support it. But I'm going to show how it's done. Ellen says, would this be considered destructive versus non-destructive changes, or is that terminology not used here? Yeah, it is. I don't know that it's the perfect terminology, but it does make sense to me. The one thing, you know, like we were talking about pushing in arrays or not, you should actually, when you make here in the browser, when you make a function, it's actually really good practice to never change the thing that you're given in input. So here you would do something like const new array, and then you would do array, and then you would do new array dot push and new array, because you're not changing the content of what you're given. This is a philosophical, like, you know, some people write programs that actually do modify what's inside their arguments. There is a school of thought that says you should never modify that. You should always make copies. And I agree. I like that way of doing things. And I think it just makes it a lot easier to figure out where things are happening. But you might forget about it. And, you know, I've done this exact mistake of like using toSorted, to sorting something and then not realizing that I was changing the input. And so, yeah, that's all for arrays, and I think that's basically where I wanted to get today. We have objects is the next thing that I would like to talk about, and I think we can do that as part of the next how do you call it? Well, I do want to do content collections again, and I think we can start with objects and hopefully like use this as a springboard to go do content collection again, this time with a little bit more knowing what's going on. In the meantime, I do want to spend a little bit of time on the questions that people had asked. Sorry, these things are a bit long. I know I can go for a long time, and you know, sometimes I think I make too long videos here, but you know, I still have energy, so like, I want to go through the questions that people asked. But do you have questions? Okay, everything seems good. Okay, so assuming everything is good, I want to take couple questions. There is one interesting question which I think very much fits with what we're saying, and I'm gonna read it. The question was, last time you started showing grouping characters in collection based on like the value of their home. It was either localhost or browserland, but you never actually showed how we can group the characters that way. And yeah, that's a good question. So let's do a similar just do a similar like situation. Let's say we want to group this by their first letter. So I'm gonna add something else with an A. What is that I like with an A? Oh god, well, apples. Yes, we are not going for for like, you know, brilliance here. We're just going for making it work. And tuna. So now I want to group this. So one easy way, and I think that is what I would do if I were doing this for like my content collection where it was just to value. You could just do things I like with A, and then do, this is things I like dot filter, and then this would be element. I'm gonna show you also another syntax, element dot starts with A. Okay, so here I have things I like, and I filtered it for, again, element is the parameter, and then the arrow function. And if you don't do the oh god, what was the name of the squiggly bracket? Was braces, right? Oh, sorry. Yes, let me get the whole full VS Code. Does it work? Okay, so things I like with A, you take things I like, and then you filter, and then you pass a function. And like normally I would, like the way I did it before, I would write this with return. But actually, if you aren't doing anything, you can omit return, and you can omit the brace, and this will just be, this just returns the value of this. So here you can copy it, and then you can do things I like with D, and then, you know, it starts with D, and then you can do it as many, like in any way you want. So that's one way, but that one is just if you, like, you know, you need to know how many you have, and you need to group them. So for the case that we were discussing last time, where you have either browserland or localhost, that works, because I can do browserland character, and I can do localhost characters, and, you know, whatever. But what if you want to actually group this by the first character, and it's like an arbitrary thing? So now we have another array methods, and this is one of the one that make people head kind of explode. So this is called reduce, and sorry, I'm gonna write it, and then I'm gonna explain it. Oh, kitten. Sorry, baby, mommy will be back. Okay, sorry, I'm gonna write it because this is gonna be a bit complicated. Oh god. Okay, I'm gonna have to redo this when we are doing objects. Let me think if there is a way of doing it easily. New map, aggregator dot wait. Sorry, making it too complicated. You know what? I'm gonna explain this next time, because it is slightly too much, I want to say, if we haven't done object. But basically what happens is that a reduce method is used to kind of like goes through each element one by one, and then it has two parameters. One is the aggregator, which goes which is basically something that is given to every call of the function, and that you can save the final result in, and then it has the current value. So what you generally do to do this is you create an aggregator that is an object, and then this object will have everything that starts with A, everything that starts with B, everything that starts with C, and then as you go through the array with the reduce method, you will say, okay, the current value that I'm currently looking at starts with A. So I'm gonna take my aggregator, and where it's A, and it's in A position, I'm going to add another element. And you do this for all the elements of the array, and eventually you have an object with all the things in their place. But this is really complicated, so I don't really want to explain it right now. What I am going to say, however, is there is one method that you can also use, which is a lot less complicated. Where is it? I think it's not in the, let me go to the browser. Group. Object.groupBy. So this one you can see here in the example, it gives you an inventory, and then you can group it by the type. And so here you will have your new inventory that has like vegetables, and here is all the element of that array that had type vegetable, fruit, and it says all the elements in the array type fruit. And the reason this is happening is because everyone hates reduce because it's so complicated and so hard to explain. The issue, however, like the reason why I was trying to explain reduce is that if you look at the browser compatibility table, it's not there in most browsers. Like you can see there is like in September 12th, Chrome released it experimentally. So 3 days ago, it got an experimental release. It's like very new. And I'm going to make a note to show how you can use something like that next time, how you can use something that's not currently supported by browsers. Because this is really useful. And I think, you know, as I was saying, I'm gonna try to explain reduce next time because you will see it in the wild. But yeah, I really wouldn't wish reduce on my worst enemy. If you can avoid reduce, yeah, please avoid it. And this is a good way of, like, you know, making it a lot easier for you to do what you were asking. But in the meantime, if you can do it the other way I was doing with just fixed ones, that's the easiest way. If not, if you have something more complicated, feel free to write me and I will help you write the right reduce. Or you can look at like the tutorials on reduce. It's just a lot to try to do quickly. Okay, so what else? Oh, the other question was, how do you convert a button, a JavaScript button, to work in Astro? Let me do that, because that's an interesting question. So if you have a button, I don't know if you can hear my cat. Baby, I'm sorry, I will be back in 1 second. We're almost done. So let's say you have a button, and this button says hello. Oh, remember to switch. I did not. Yeah, no. How many are we? Is this the 4th one? Oh yes, 3 is pin. Got to pin a new one. So the question was, how do I have the button do something in Astro? Baby, I think my cat is telling me I need to hurry up. So let's just do these 2 questions, and then Liet asked more, but we're gonna do them next time. So here, button here. This does nothing. I think that generally the question would be something like, you have on click here, And then you have something like alert message. Hey. Sorry. Gonna try doing it. Yeah. See this one. Oh, it doesn't show the alert here. No, come. No, fine, you're right. I did a switch. Okay. So here I put just like in the on click of the button, I put the alert message. It saves it to be a bit weird because that's not something you usually do. But it does not show the alert, so I'm gonna do console.log message, and here in my browser I'm gonna open this so you can see that when I click on the button, it's just outputs this message. This is just saying that it has done it 23 times. Every time I click, it increases that. So I'm assuming that what is there is something like this, and that there may be a function declaration somewhere that doesn't know how to do it in Astro. Anyway, sorry, long story short. The way you would do something like this in Astro is you need a script tag. So script, kind of like you do style there. And then within script, oh, fun! I'm saying fun, and I really want to say a different word. Yes, 6. It's like I did so well, and then in the last 5 minutes, I am just like, yeah, I'm just like using all my points. Anyway, so the way you do it is you need a script tag, and script is where you write JavaScript, like normally, also in regular HTML and JavaScript. Now, in this script tag, what you wanna do is you wanna get this button. Let's give it a class. Let's say this is our hello. So now you wanna, first of all, you want to get a JavaScript, as a JavaScript variable, you wanna get a reference to that button. So we could do something like const button element equal, let me put this up, document. So document is a global variable that represents your document, and this global variable has a function within it called query selector. So query selector, what you do is you pass it CSS selector. I'm gonna call it a CSS selector. So you know when you write CSS, you have ways to say, oh, all buttons or the button with this class. That's what you do. You can pass anything that you write in CSS, or like mostly anything you can pass here. So here you can say button which class hello. So that's button.hello, or even just like, if you know all the .hello is button, you can just do .hello. Remember, dot is the class in CSS. And we can see how this works by console.log button element. Let's go see. So I go in the browser, and then I remember to switch. You can see that here in the browser, yes, console.log this element. You can reveal it in the elements panel. Can you? Well, it's not doing it right. But yeah, it has logged that button. So right now, inside button element, there is, where is it? Code. I'm just gonna go code. There is that hello. Now that you have an HTML element, you can do what it's called adding an event handler. I'm first gonna write it, and then we are going to see what that is. So you take button element, you call a function on it called add event listener. I haven't talked about this question mark here. Just take it for granted. It's a good practice to add it there. And then we say click is the event, and then a function. And this is gonna do, what was I doing earlier? Console.log message. So now just gonna show that it works before I go to explain it. Click hello, and you know, it is the message. So now, what is going on? So JavaScript is, I don't know if I want to call it event driven, but it has this concept of events that kind of is very central to the way JavaScript does things. There are many events that happen while the user interacts with the browser. So examples of events are resize, the page is resized, not just the page is resized, JavaScript will trigger a resize event. The page is scrolled, it triggers a scroll event. An element is clicked, it triggers the click event. Element has the mouse passing over it, it triggers the mouse over events. There is a bunch of different types of events. And the browser is always triggering them at, like, you know, as the user interacts with it. So what we do in these script tags is we take this button element that we have taken with the query selector function, and then we add an event listener. And what it says, adding an event listener says, when the click event happens, here, see click here, call the function that is in the second parameter. And so, yeah, that's what it does. You can, when the element is clicked, the function goes here. So if you're trying to convert something that you have in like a different script to, and maybe it's like in the on click here and it's not working well, then that's a good way of doing it. You can add the event listener, and then you can generally just like put your code there normally. Here is the examples where I have a JavaScript button that takes a user to the top of the page, specific ID, and so on. I also have one that makes a sidebar appear. So to go to the top of the page, I think it's document.scroll to top. No, maybe it's Windows scroll to top. Was there? It was scroll to 0, I think. Was that? No, it's an options. Okay, fine. How does Windows scroll to work? Options, scroll to options, left top. Scroll to top 0. And then, oops, no. Okay, and so now if I go to here in the browser, and I go, I go here, and then I click this hello, it brings it to top. That's how you do it. Is it looking for an absolute position? Yes, it's the offset of the page, but it has a bit of a syntax that you need to figure out. Then it was what was the other one? A specific ID, and you probably want to do something similar. You do document.query selector, and then you put the selector, and then you can do, I think, something like scroll top or something. It's gonna be a number like that. Let me try it. So here, if I have I can take the thing with the class dot logo and do scroll top. We will see. I am not exactly sure that this works. Browser. I am not sure that worked. Well, one way of doing it. Let's print what's in scroll top. when I click, oh, it's 0. That does not look right. Show you one trick. So now it's console. Now if I do, I've highlighted the element. Now if I do $0, that's the element that I have currently highlighted. So I can do $0.scrollTop, and effectively that's 0. What if I do? I was trying to be quick, but the method you want is probably getBound. It's called getBoundingClientRect. It's like such a handful, and this one actually gives you all the positions of the element as that they are. So you can see it's a 90 pixel from the top, and so if you do that, if you do, instead of like trying to be like I was being, which is very lazy, and use the scroll top, which I forget what it does, but clearly not what I thought. You do getBoundingClientRect, and then you go top, and then you save. Sorry, I'm gonna go back. It's okay. I have changed it. So document query selector, and then getBoundingClientRect, and then you get the top of this. There, here. Now when you click on the button in the browser, if I've done things correctly, it should bring you to the top again. Oh, come on. I am very miffed by this. Maybe it's correct. Maybe it's just like, okay, if I do this, -47. Oh, because that's the, you got to add the windows. Anyway, you got, oh, switch windows. Fine. Google it. I always forget exactly. There is, you need to do, I think you need to do the current scroll position plus top, or there is another way that just does it absolutely. I honestly forget how it is, but like something like that. You must, you go look at what it says, and then you're like, oh yeah, I remember now. I always forget. Really, it's that, oh, come on. I say, let's not do it, and then I'm like, come on, getBoundingClientRect. Was there one that was XY bottom top? Yeah. Okay, yeah, no, it's compared. You will have to add the current scroll position or something to it, because it's from the top of the current position of the browser. So like, yeah. You're getting snare sniping your own script? Yes. Ms. Baba had enough after not switching windows, go Google it. Yeah, no, I've had to forget how to switch windows. Okay, like, last one. I mean, I don't know that, like, you know, this was a let's redo this all, but, you know, let's redo this all. Why not? And another one, let's do add or display or hide something. Let's say that we're gonna this time, wait, no, oh, okay, no, I am the right one, but let me get the full page. Hide or show. I'm gonna do a new div, and I'm gonna do it, give it a class of show me. And so here, when I click, I wanna get the div with class show me, and I wanna either hide it or I wanna show it. I basically want the button to toggle between these two things. So there are a few ways of doing this. I'm gonna do show me as a style, and that's visibility visible here at the bottom, and then I'm gonna do hide me. And that's gonna be visibility hidden. And so here, when you click, you are gonna sorry, I'm thinking. Let's just say that I'm always gonna add a class to this so that I can target it with just to show instead, and then toggle which class I want according to whatever. Here, let's do document.get query selector, and query selector is gonna be the one with the to show class. And then here we do class list. Class list is going to be it's like a JavaScript, a property of JavaScript, a property of HTML element that you can access to JavaScript, which allows to which tells you which classes that element currently has. Let's console.log it so I can show you. Saved it. Now to the browser. When we click this, here there is this DOM token list, and it's showing you which classes the element currently has. So it has to show, it has show me, and then you have like also the Astro class. Remember, it does the how do you call it? To create scoped styles, it has its own class. There is also this cute thing called a prototype. Here you see this property prototype. You can open it, and this shows you all the functions that exist on this token list. So you have contains, you have for each, you have a lot of things. Remove, replace, something like that. I don't know how replace works actually. I'm gonna go back to the code, and we're gonna do something. Const current classes is the class list here. We don't need the bot, so this is the current classes. I just put the class list there, and then we do if current classes dot contains what was it, show me. Then we do current classes dot remove show me, and current classes dot add hide me. And then else, in the opposite case, we do the opposite. This is not exactly how I would, because it's possibly undefined. Just gonna add this. What this is saying is that I should check whether I actually exist as anything with this query selector, and the question mark is allowing you to do this thing. Like normally, if you try to do this, to call these functions on elements that do not exist, it's gonna yell at you. But if you add this question mark, it will just basically be like, okay, if that doesn't exist, just do nothing. So that's what's happening. So we do the opposite. So we add show me, and we remove hide me. Okay, that's the logic. Now, time for truth. I don't know if this is correct. Well, I'm hoping it's correct, but you never know. Click hello. There, it's working. Ta-da! And you can see I have used visibility hidden instead of display known, which is another way of doing it, just because that keeps the element actually here, just not visible. If you changed the code to do something like, instead of visibility hidden, you did something like display block and display none, that will actually move the button. See, or now the hide or show does not exist anymore in the page, so that will completely hide it, which is often what you want to do. And so yeah, that's how you do it. I would probably write this differently if I wasn't if I wasn't doing it for like a slightly beginner thing. So I'm actually gonna do it just to show you. I would do something like, and now current classes dot toggle, which is a method which has so what it does is basically it toggles a class. If it exists, it keeps it. If it does not exist, sorry, if it exists, it removes it. If it exists, it removes it. If it does not exist, it adds it. But what actually, it also has a second parameter, and that second parameter basically forces the value. So this is, I would do current classes dot toggles, current classes dot contains. Yeah, this is actually equivalent to what to not adding it. So remove it. Sorry. And then here current classes. Never mind. You don't need that, because these are gonna switch. So here, if I now go to the browser, this does not work. Okay, what am I getting wrong? Oh, no. Really? What am I missing? I thought toggle would... If force is not given, toggles token, removing it if it's present and adding it if it's not present. If force is true, adds token. If force is false, removes token. Okay, but shouldn't that work? Shouldn't that hide and show? Oh, because it show me and hide me. That's why. I am so sorry. I am so sorry. It's like I can do this after 3 hours of streaming. Yes. Also, I guess that was 7. Here, toggles, show me and hide me, and then if I go to browser, now it works. I think replace would work too. So let's see. Replace with like show me with hide me, but you would still need contains, or it's going to, or you're gonna have the problem, because even if you do both cases, you override what you are doing. Yeah, you still need an if, but that's another way of doing it. But yeah, this is how you do these things in just like in Astro. You do the script here. The one thing I'm gonna caution with this is if you have a variable here, so I don't know, is active, and then you do true, you cannot use it in here. You can't use it in the script. It tells you it's not declared. Cannot find the name. It's because it's not declared. This on top and this script here are completely separate. There is a way to define it, which is, I think, define vars, and then you can do is active. and then now is active is now here, like see, stop the squiggly. Just FYI, this is a thing. This is like an Astro limitation, because if you remember, the whole thing is these are run, the top here is run when the website is building. So actually when it gets to the page, this is active is gone. But yeah, I would say this is all. And unless you have other questions, thank you for staying this long. I was like, this time I am going to like keep the stream to a contained amount of time, and it went on for longer than usual. Cool codes, thank you. As they say, this isn't even my final form. Just give me, like, wait, we go deep in content collection. I think someone asked earlier if I was gonna do typed data in content collection. I can do that. I think yes, because I think we wanted to do artist information, and so that would be typed data, because it's a content collection with typed data is not a page, is not something that has content, is something that is just a series of data. And unless we choose to make like pages for our artist, which we could, but we're just like gonna for now add their links, name, and things like that. Time to pre-order iPhone 15. Yeah, Godspeed to you. Thank you for this. Thank you all for coming and staying with me as I rant about JavaScript and TypeScript, and convert you all to it. I will pet my cat. I don't know where she went. She's probably just sitting that she wanted food and I ignored her. And yeah, thank you all. I'll see you around. Sounds good? Bye. Bye, Karen.